Hey, this is our Valentine's episode, so I wrote you a poem.
Oh, okay.
Roses are red, violets are blue. I really enjoyed doing this podcast with you.
Okay. I'm Adam.
And I'm Joe. And together we're the Maladjusted Misfits.
Misfits.
Oh no.
And this is the one where we talk about friends.
Hi, we thought we'd try something new this week and add something called Misfit Moments and tell you a little bit about our week.
Misfits moments.
Yeah.
Talk about our week.
How was your week, Adam?
Well,
Don't lie.
we're having some work done and it's taking longer than anticipated and it's starting to get annoying.
Yeah.
Other than that, my week sucked.
Yep, we've been working on this kitchen project since August, and we still are not done. But, yeah, fun week.
It looks better, though.
Yeah, it does.
So how about you? How was your week,
Well, I'm
Joe?
excited because we heard from a listener.
Okay.
Yeah, so we got a message from Aubrey W.
Aw.
Who said she listened to the last episode and she's cackling at the monochromatic banter, knowing full well that she is head to toe in black. But she does have a pop of color in her hot pink docs. And also she agrees that the 90s were very brown.
Very brown. A little too brown.
She also agreed with me that the outfit was a crime against humanity and that the lipstick is what puts it over the edge. Like, girl, come on. So thank you, Aubrey W., for reaching out.
Thanks, W.
So, what is this episode?
The one with the candy hearts.
Yeah. It's such a weird title, don't you think?
I think it is. I mean, like I said, there's ones that stand out, and there's a handful that, like, the references to, like, the B or C story instead of the main plot, and you're just kind of like, oh, that's the title?
Yeah, and it was, like, almost at the end of the episode.
Yeah.
So, all right. Our episode director was the one, the only, James Burrows.
Jamie B again.
That's right. He goes by Jimmy, by the way.
Jimmy?
Yeah, he does. I read that.
Okay.
On several television series he's worked on, the spouse of the main character is never actually seen by the audience.
Okay.
So, Vera, Norm Peterson's wife on Cheers, never see her.
Okay.
Niles Crane's wife, Maris, on Frasier, never see her. And Karen Walker's husband, Stanley, on Will and Grace, never meet him. So it's a little bit of a running thing for
he likes those.
James, yeah.
But again, that makes sense, like Cheers with the bar.
Yeah. Why
that you would never
there?
see her, you know.
Yeah.
It's his hangout.
So I hit my mic.
Well, stop doing that.
Our episode writer was Bill Lawrence. He only wrote one episode of Friends, but he was the writer for several episodes of Ted Lasso.
Oh, my goodness.
And Shrinking.
Oh, you must be super excited.
I am. I
love
love
those.
Ted Lasso and Shrinking. And the original air date was?
February 9th, 1995.
All right. And our IMDb plot?
As Valentine's Day approaches, Ross and his date end up at the same restaurant as Carol and Susan. Joey inadvertently sets Chandler up on a blind date with Janice, and the girls burn mementos of their old boyfriends.
Are you ready for some trivia?
I am ready.
All right. So, this is the third time that Chandler breaks up with Janice.
I just want to say, there's a lot more Janice in the first season than I thought. It was sprinkled in the first 2 or 3.
Yeah, she
more
comes
than
back
it is.
a couple, like I think every season.
Well, she comes back every season, like we talked about, like Sideshow Bob. Like she always pops up. But I was surprised to keep seeing more and more of her.
Yeah, it was.
And again, it's always fun.
But this is the third time that Chandler breaks up with Janice. But there is also one more time he breaks up with her later in the series when he breaks up with her so she can go back to her family. And then one more time after that when he moves to Yemen, 15 Yemen Road, Yemen.
Yes.
So he breaks up with Janice 5 times in the series.
That's a lot of breaking up.
It is. This is the first episode where Janice gets to say the infamous, "Oh my God."
Yes.
And Nancy Valen, who plays Joey's date Lorraine, was Sam Thomas on Baywatch, which is Joey and Chandler's favorite show to watch together. So I thought that was kind of fun.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even think of that. That's funny.
So what were your episode reactions to Candy Heart?
The Candy Heart. So it's a Valentine's Day episode.
Yep.
It's just another holiday I don't care about personally. I mean, to me, it's only special because it's Simon Pegg's birthday.
That's right. Simon Pegg is the best.
I love Simon Pegg. The surprise Janice is fun. And I think this is the most sympathetic I've felt for Ross.
Okay.
You know, in the restaurant when they're talking. I feel bad for him. I mean, you know what's going on in his life, but he's usually making bad decisions while you're thinking about that. And this one, I kind of get a glimpse into what him and Carol's relationship must have been like.
Right. They were very close. Yeah.
And the girls are doing like a Wiccan ritual, which is fun and very amusing.
All right. I give it a solid B. You gave it a grade last week, so I'm going to give it a grade this week. Solid
Should we start grading?
We can. I think there are some really funny lines in this episode. Janice coming back again just is amazing. Maggie Wheeler is just amazing in this role.
Yes.
I like the rehashing of the old boyfriends. And I think it's the search for the right one and wanting to go back to what's familiar and comfortable. So, like, everyone's trying to find that perfect someone. And
Ross kind of gets tethered back to old.
And so does Chandler. Yeah, it's like you go back to what is comfortable and familiar. But...
Joey's the only one that came out on top during this episode.
Yeah, Joey is. All right, favorite line. There were a lot of funny lines, but I really like when, in the cold open, Chandler's trying to convince Ross to go talk to the lady at the bar. And he goes, "Come on, Ross, you got to get back in the game here, okay? The Rachel thing's not happening. Your ex-wife's a lesbian. I don't think we need a third."
They usually come in threes, but really I think two is...
I think you're good, man.
We don't want to beat the dead horse here. I think my favorite line is, this is another, I've talked in the past about how I think a lot of the side characters deliver good lines. I'm going to go with, "Wow, that guy's hairier than the chief."
Gross.
Just cracks me up. Again, it's the delivery. It's,
yeah.
They have a lot of actors come in for one or two lines and nailed it. It's pretty funny.
All right. So my favorite moment, even though he's breaking up with her, I love the scene when Chandler's breaking up with Janice. Because this is the third time, and he said it the same thing all three times.
Right.
Janice. Hey, Janice. So I have to watch for the next couple times to see if he does
right.
that.
Mentally, you're going to be keeping track.
Yes. What's your favorite moment?
Not her. When the hot girl walks past Ross and Carol and
at the hibachi restaurant. Yeah.
And he kind of looks at it and, she's, that's a nice shape to a female woman. And Carol's like, not her.
That is funny. Favorite outfit, it's not all of Joey's turtlenecks. He wore a lot of turtlenecks in this episode. Yeah. And I do like Rachel's little crop burlesque t-shirt. She has like a little burlesque lady dancer on her t-shirt when the firemen come. But I'm going to go with her off-white, off-the-shoulder sweater that Rachel's wearing and a cute black skirt when they're setting up the ritual or they're talking about doing the ritual and they're standing in Monica's kitchen. It's cute. It looks cozy.
Yeah. My favorite outfit. Now, I almost went with Lorraine, Nancy Valen, who's Joey's date, because she looks pretty cute in her dress when she shows up for dinner. But I'm going to go with Carol's Valentine's Day dress.
She looks
just a red dress. She's dressed up to look nice for Susan. Aww. And even though she's super pregs, she looks adorable.
She does look adorable. All right, themes that we explored during this episode. We moved this from the bottom to the top of the episode because we want to talk about the things we're going to talk about.
Right, the things we're going to be bringing.
That's right.
So one of the themes is Valentine's Day.
Yep.
A day for romance, or is it a taunting Machiavellian scheme against single people? We will find out. Fire safety. Burning rituals belong outside.
That's right.
Off again, on again relationships.
Yep.
Ending them seems less impactful after a few times.
Yeah.
Perpetually, every time you break up with someone, I feel like it gets less and less of a breakup. Ross and Rachel is a perfect example.
Yes.
Much later in the series, he's like, sex is never really off the table. And love and divorce. Feelings can linger.
Yeah, because sometimes people don't get divorced because they hate the other person.
Right.
Or they dislike them in any way. It's just things changed.
Right.
And
you grow apart sometimes.
Yeah.
And
so,
I like to think of, Ross is a good example.
Yeah.
Because I think him and Carol truly, really do have feelings for each other.
Yeah, they love each other for sure. Yeah.
But my favorite divorced couple of all time is Bruce Willis and Demi Moore.
Why?
They're still friends. They're
yeah.
still hanging out.
Yeah, they still are hanging out.
They're
years
still
later.
good friends.
Yep.
They still keep in contact. They still hang
celebrate
out.
all the holidays together.
Yeah.
They were quarantined together during 2020. Yeah, it's
adorable. If we ever got divorced, I don't want to get divorced.
Thanks for that.
But if we ever did, I would want to go the Bruce Willis Demi Moore divorce. Cause
you can have the kids.
I know, you would force me to take the kids.
And now it's time for a dramatic line reading. I bought you something.
Is it loaded? Oh, little candy hearts. Chan and Jan forever.
I had them made special.
Okay, Janice. Janice. Hey, Janice. Look, there's no way for me to tell you this. At least, there's no new way for me to tell you this. I just don't think things are gonna work out.
That's fine.
It is?
Mm-hmm. Because I know that this isn't the end.
Oh, no, you see, actually, it is.
No, it isn't, because you won't let that happen. Don't you know it yet? You love me, Chandler Bing.
Oh, no, I don't.
Then ask yourself, why do we keep ending up together? New Year's Eve, who invited who? Valentine's, who asked who into whose bed?
I did, but...
You seek me out. Something deep in your soul calls out to me like a foghorn. Janice! Janice! You want me. You need me. You can't live without me. And you know it. You just don't know you know it. All right, we open the cold open in Central Perk. Chandler, Ross, and Joey.
Sweater vest. Right away. I'm going to call this the Burroughs bump.
The Burroughs bump. Oh, because he's directing again.
Because James Burroughs is directing. He was wearing that sweater vest
right.
the only time we saw him. I think he's the one that loves the sweater vest.
All right, we'll have
He hasn't directed a few.
Yep. We'll have to keep track. That's so funny. Chandler and Joey are trying to convince Ross to go flirt with this woman at the coffee house bar. A woman from his building that once lent him an egg.
Yes.
The woman, who we will learn later is Kristen, is played by Heather Medway.
And she does a little, hey, Ross.
Yeah, and then he goes, hello. So weird.
He's so funny.
And then Chandler reminds him that Rachel thing is not happening and that his ex-wife is a lesbian and they don't need a third reason. And Joey asks the waitress at Central Perk for an egg in the shell. So my only thoughts went to, I suppose this is from Arturo's kitchen from his cookie making. Because why else would a coffee shop have an egg?
Oh.
Yeah.
Right.
So. But they talk him into giving her the egg as a lead-in. You know, And then this was almost my favorite line. Do you think it'll work?
No, it's suicide. A man has an egg. Now, again, I'm fully on board with it, talking Ross into hitting on somebody.
Yeah.
I've been saying he needs to move on.
Right.
And I say go with the egg. I mean, they feel like it's a bad idea. I say go goofy.
Yeah.
If you can't think of anything else. But that was my tactic in high school. I don't know how much it would work now.
All right. After the credits, we open back in Central Perk. We have Ross, Chandler, and Joey, and then Monica and Phoebe walk in, and Monica's shouting at Phoebe that she can't do this, and Rachel goes, What? And Monica explains that Roger, from the last episode, wants to take Phoebe out.
Yes, he wants to take her out again.
Yes. And Monica's wearing all brown again. Head to toe brown.
What does Raj say about her brown wearing all the time?
I don't know. And they remind her why she dumped him in the first place, because he was creepy, mean, and a little frightening. And I would say that sums up Raj. Yeah.
Right. Especially after his little outburst.
Yeah.
Which I assume she broke up with him immediately after that.
Oh, I would assume so. The look on her face was like, okay, we're done.
But again, I like the little mentions of the side characters that, I kind of wish they would do it more.
Right.
With people we know.
Right.
Because, again, the first season's fun because they throw a lot of names out there that don't mean anything to us. But I like when they bring somebody back, like Chip Matthews is somebody they mention.
Right.
And then he shows up.
Yes. That is fun.
I like that little world building in there. It's fun.
And then Phoebe laments about how it's nice to have a date on Valentine's Day. And I never thought... okay, so I will reveal that you gave me the largest Valentine card I've ever seen in my entire life on Valentine's Day at school.
I did.
But since then, I don't think we've ever made a huge deal about Valentine's Day.
Every now and then we'll do something a little cutesy. Like I'll get you flowers sometimes, but it's not something we feel like we have to do because we'll do that stuff randomly too. So.
But we're also the people that are like, I'm not going out to dinner on Valentine's Day.
No. I would never try and go out on a Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Like apparently everybody else.
That and Mother's Day, right?
Right. I think, too, because Valentine's Day, in my mind, is, it's wrapped up in Catholicism. So it's like a weirdly religious love holiday.
Really?
Which it's St. Valentine. That's
okay.
why it's... And I'm kind of like, no, thanks.
I'm good. All right, so Monica reminds her that she can go out with a creepy guy any night of the year. And then she says, I know I do. Rachel asks Joey and Chandler what they're doing tomorrow, and then Joey sets up that it depends on what's going on tonight.
Right, it does.
Chandler starts to back out of the double date.
Which he should have.
Right. And Joey begs him to go. Now, this is really weird, because the only way that his date will go out with him is if he brings a friend for her friend.
Right.
And the friend sounds like a pathetic mess.
Cha-ching. And I like that Joey's the only one that's stoked about that.
Right.
She's a pathetic mess. You can get into her pants, no problem. Because later or earlier, I can't remember when, he says he can detect when somebody's
feeling,
vulnerable.
Yeah.
It's one of his gifts, is how he puts it. And, but he thinks that that's a sure sign and Chandler's not looking for that kind of girl.
I like how Rachel launches a bagel or a roll at him, and he thanks her and starts eating it.
Thanks.
And then Joey reminds him that he hasn't seen anyone since he broke up with Janice. We should have saw it coming.
Yeah.
And then Ross comes back over and says she said she would go out with him, and they're very boisterous about it. So
right. I was thinking that, in Kristen's TV show, the TV show for her character.
Okay.
She is so desperate for a Valentine's date that she's like telling her friends, I'm going to date with the science geeky guy in my building because I really want to go out on Valentine's Day. So if we were watching her TV show,
she would be like...
She would be settling for Ross, and then she gets bored halfway through the date and leaves and calls her friends and go, "You were right."
So because they're so happy that Ross got a date, Chandler gives him a hug, and then you hear the egg crack.
Yes.
And he says, "Still got the egg?" And he goes... And then they kind of walk towards the bathroom.
Right.
So I have a couple things.
Okay.
One, do you think he gave her the egg and then put it in his pocket? Or decided not to give her the egg and put it in his pocket?
Well, they do show him holding up the egg when he's talking to her.
At the bar.
Right.
Okay.
He definitely shows her the egg. I would assume.
She was like, "What am I
She was like, "I'm going to work."
Yeah.
So he was like, "Well, I'll just keep the egg, but will you go out with me?"
And then the second thing is if the egg is inside his coat jacket pocket and Chandler hugs him, there's nothing on Chandler.
No.
So why did they feel they needed to walk to the bathroom?
I don't know.
Okay, I just wondered.
It's one of those weird physical comedy moments that...
It was cute and funny, but then when you logically start to think about it...
Would it be in his pocket? Why would... I think Chandler just wants to hug him on his way to the bathroom for some reason.
All right. Then we cut to the fancy restaurant. That Joey and Chandler are sitting at the table.
So you put fancy restaurants in the notes because you did the notes this time.
I did do the notes this time.
And it says Monty's Restaurant.
Oh, does it on the menus?
It says it on the outside of the building.
Oh, I didn't see it.
Yeah. So it says Monty's Restaurant, but I was thinking that would be cool if the name of a restaurant was just a question mark. Because you put fancy restaurant, question mark? It would be funny if you had a restaurant that was just named question mark.
It was just a symbol.
And the menu changed every day.
Apparently I'm not as diligent of a note taker as you are. And then Joey is checking his hair in the knife.
Right. That's how serial killers check their hair, Joe. Come on.
And he goes, "How do I look?" And then this was almost my favorite. Chandler leans in like he's looking at him and then goes, "I don't care." And then, guess what? Sweater vest number 2. It's striped and it's buttoned all the way up. Because usually he leaves the top couple buttons open and it's billowy at the bottom.
Right.
But this one is buttoned all the way up and it's under a suit jacket, but it is truly a sweater vest.
Right, you can tell.
Yeah.
It's lit well enough in the scene.
Yes. So then Lorraine walks in, who's played by, we said before, Nancy Valen.
Yes.
Joey's date. And is it all the ladies he dates are from Jersey? They all have that, like,
right. I think
accent.
Yeah, I think for the first season, I think they were trying to go in for that. He's an Italian New Yorker. He dates other New Yorker people. And then I think slowly they kind of let that go.
Because all the girls are really, like...
They seem very New York.
Yes.
They all seem very, very New York.
That's right.
And again, she's doing a very New York.
She is.
And she probably doesn't sound like that on Baywatch.
Yeah,
so no. But I have to say, she is a cutie pie.
She is cute. Of the girls that he dates, she is pretty cute. So Chandler says, "Remember, no trading. You get the pretty one. I get the mess." And then Lorraine says, well, look what you brought. Very nice.
And what did you bring?
I love that line.
Right, like, where is she? Would you be coming in together?
And Lorraine says that she's checking her coat and then tells Joey she's going to wash the cab smell off her hands. And she and Joey do this cute finger waggle at each other. I love finger waggles. Why do people do that? I don't know. I'm doing it now, but nobody can see it.
I need to start gesturing more. You really like it.
Apparently.
You need to...
And she asks Joey to get her a white Zinfandel for her and a red for Janice.
Dun, dun, dun. and they're both like...
Did she say Janice?
And it's like, there's like 8 billion people in New York, right? So we should still be okay.
But I do like the pause and realization on Joey's face that, holy fuck, it could be Janice. And then Chandler says, Janice? Janice? And in walks Janice. Oh my God.
It's Janice.
I love that.
Oh, and then they start the tradition of the "Oh my God, Janice reveals," which they will use to great effect
Yep.
Including this one is great effect.
And then I like how throughout the rest of the series, the other friends pick up on it and you'll hear them say their catchphrase.
Right.
So it's so funny. All right. So now we're in the fancy restaurant bathroom, which is Monty's. So it's Monty's restaurant bathroom. Joey and Chandler.
Monty's Pee-Pee Palace.
Chandler is seen pounding his head against the wall. And we pan back to see Joey in the stall with the door open, which he looks like he's standing miles away from the toilet.
You can still do that as a guy, though.
Oh!
That's not a problem for us.
Then Chandler says he's going to make a break for it, but Joey laments that he's been waiting forever to go out with this girl.
Right.
And he tells him to calm down.
Calm down.
Calm down. You set me up with a woman I've dumped twice in the last 5 months.
Right. One on New Year's Eve, right before the ball dropped.
And then again on Valentine's Day. He loves those holiday
Well, he's
dumps.
not yet. He's going to do that
that's right.
tomorrow. And there's a piece of art in this men's room, which is not a thing you typically see, by the way.
No. Okay.
But it looks like two nude lesbians making out in front of a dog. And I'm like, this is a weird piece of art for the men's room.
So maybe James Burrows was like, hey, this doesn't look fancy enough for a fancy restaurant.
Right.
So put this art up and voila, fancy restaurant.
Fancy restaurant. It's got art in the Pee-Pee Palace.
Pee-Pee Palace. And then Joey asks Chandler to stop yelling because he's nervous and can't pee, which comes up later again when he has to pee on Monica, remember?
Right.
He got the stage right.
Come on, do it, Joe. Do it. And I haven't not done this to my friends.
You haven't not done this
I
here.
haven't not done this to some of my friends. Not currently.
Mean. All right. When we cut to Monica's apartment, Monica, Rachel, and Phoebe, they're standing around the kitchen table preparing a salad. And then they start lamenting about all their bad dates.
I'm surprised that Rachel can peel a carrot.
Well, I can't tell if she's like slicing it into the bowl or she's peeling the carrot. Like,
oh, okay.
Yeah, I can't tell. So Rachel says Roger was nothing compared to Pete Carney. Remember Pete the Weeper? He cried every time we had sex. Was it good for you?
Wow, that's sad.
And then she dates Paul later on, who cries after they have sex.
Right, Paul. That's what it reminded me of. Paul.
Maybe it's Rachel.
Oh.
I'm just kidding. It's not
No,
Rachel.
it's again, what it is the writers knew somebody who would cry.
Who cried after sex, yes.
Marta broke up with somebody who was like, that dude will not stop crying. Because there's somebody else that cries a lot, too, that we see cry a lot.
Freddie Prinze Jr.'s character cries a lot.
Not Sandy. That's a different kind of cry.
All right. All right. Monica said she would take Pete over Howard, the I win guy. And to me, she sounds like she's doing a Nixon impression.
Instead of I am not a crook,
she's
like, I win!
I win! And she goes, I went out with that guy for 2 months and I didn't get to win once.
Ooh.
Ouch. That's really sad. Yeah. I don't think I would have lasted 2 months. I'd have been like, okay, what's in this for me, okay?
Right. You got to put your arms down, buddy. You're not done yet.
And then Rachel says, why do they keep going out with such jerks? And Monica says she thinks that she's a magnet. And Phoebe says she definitely is. And that's why she can't wear a digital watch.
Which is pretty funny.
It is.
And I like how they look at her.
They do. They're like, seriously? And then Monica's like...
There's more beer, right?
Yeah. Like,
I'm not really in the mood for Phoebe tonight, but she's here, so...
I need to have more alcohol. And then Phoebe gets excited and says that her friend Abby, who shaves her head... Mm-hmm. So apparently she has 2 friends that shave their head because Bonnie is the other friend. I always wanted to shave my head or dye my hair fuchsia or something, but I'm not brave enough to pull it off. But
I think you could dye your hair. It'd be fine. Yeah. But yeah, I think it'd been cool if they would have remembered to use the name later with Bonnie. But I think it's also fun that she has 2 friends that
shave their heads.
Shave their head is also quite fun.
Anyway, Abby says if you want to break the bad boyfriend cycle, you do this cleansing ritual.
Mm-hmm.
And Rachel says, Phoebes, this woman is voluntarily bald.
And again, I liked shaved heads on women.
I do.
There's Furiosa, Denani Guerrera.
Who's that?
That's Michonne.
Oh, yeah.
And Black Panther,
yeah.
you know, she has her shaved head.
Yep.
But there's a lot of women that look very nice with their heads shaved.
Yep. And she says that they can do a burning ritual or dance around naked chanting with sticks.
Burning is good.
Yeah.
Burning.
They both agree that burning is the one to go with.
They don't want to be in Central Park naked dancing around.
All right, then we go back to the fancy restaurant. Sorry, Monty's. Joey, Lorraine, Chandler, and Janice are there. And Joey and Lorraine are, when it opens up, they're doing the impression of the Lady and Tramp.
Right.
You know, with a long breadstick, and they're kissing.
Right. It would be fun to do it with the breadstick instead of the spaghetti.
Less messy. And then they pan out to see Chandler and Janice, and they're barely facing the table. And then I noticed, because she's turned sideways, that Janice's pants have like a cuff at the ankle. And then there's lace that pops out from it.
I stopped it to look at it because I saw that in your notes. It is weird.
It is so weird.
But her whole outfit reminds me of Marge Simpson's
Chanel
outfit that she alters like 6 times in the episode.
Which is so funny, because if you look at Janice's earrings, they're Chanel earrings.
Right. I assume it's a very iconic look that's Chanel. I don't know. That's my assumption.
The only experience we have is Marge Simpson.
Right.
So.
No personal experience with Chanel.
I saw it in Paris, but we didn't go in.
But I think that's maybe why she had a dress that she's been changing. Janice is doing the same thing.
Okay.
And that's why there's the weird lace cuffs on the bottom.
At the bottom. Okay. This was the altered outfit. Lorraine says that ever since she was little, she could pick up quarters with her toes. And Joey at first just goes, oh, that's good. Like, who cares? And then he fidgets and says, quarters or rolls of quarters? Which to me was kind of risque language for primetime TV.
Well, see, that's how they get away with it. The language is not risque at all. He's just saying rolls of quarters.
Because when the kids were little, we used to have friends on all the time, and I would like go, oh my gosh, and I would be like, it's going way over their head.
They're not.
They don't get rolls of quarters.
They don't even know what a roll of quarters is. They've never seen a roll of quarters.
Yeah, nobody uses cash anymore.
We don't have to go to the laundromat.
And then Janice tells Chandler that she cut him out of all of her pictures. So if she wants, she has a baggie of just his head. Chandler goes, I'm good. But Janice is creative and says he can use them to make puppets for his theater of cruelty. Right.
And I like the idea of a bunch of little popsicles with Chandler's head on it, and just going, hey Janice, hey Janice, hey Janice, hey Janice, hey Janice.
And then Lorraine is whispering in Joey's ear, and he says, we can't do that.
You can't unroll my quarters right here.
Chandler goes, what can't you do? And then Joey asks Chandler to step aside so that he can talk to him, and tells Chandler that she wants to go home and slather his body with stuff and lick it off. And then he's not sure what slather means, but he's all for it.
Well, slather is a verb, means to spread or smear thickly or liberally.
Ooh. And then Chandler begs him not to do this to him, and Joey agrees, until he overhears Lorraine ordering 3 chocolate mousses to go.
I'm out of here.
He gives Chandler his credit card, which I'm shocked that Chandler would think it would work.
Right.
But they haven't really established how bad Joey is with money yet.
Right. Yeah, this is one of the few times, this is like the only time.
Yeah.
He's like voluntarily going, here's
my credit card. Yeah. And tells him that dinner is on him. And Chandler says, I hope she throws up on you.
And the next time we're in a restaurant, I want to get up from the table and go stand by somebody else's table and just have a conversation just to see what they do. Because I've never seen anybody do that in real life. So I think that would be fun.
That is funny. And then Chandler goes back to the table with Janice and says, "What a crappy night." And Janice says that she has enjoyed that his shirt has been sticking out of his zipper since he came back from the bathroom. And I did check when he got up to talk to Joey. So once she said that, I rewound it. And his shirt is sticking out of his zipper when he gets up to talk to Joey.
And I thought he just went to the bathroom to pound his head against the wall.
Right. So Chandler turns and does a little zipper dance for the couple behind him.
Again, something fun to do in a restaurant.
Same couple, 4 people. And Janice says, "Do we have the best friends or what?" And then Chandler gets this light bulb idea and talks about how stupid Joey is leaving the credit card. And they order more drinks and 2 bottles of overpriced champagne and a Rob Roy.
Right. I always wanted to try one.
So I looked up what a Rob Roy was. The first thing that came up was an 18th century Scotland movie. Robert Roy McGregor, played by Liam Neeson,
Right.
is the head of a proud Highlands clan that herds cattle.
Right. That's the Prima Nocta movie.
Okay. And then the number 2 thing was a drink, but it was invented in 1894. The Rob Roy is a 19th century cocktail consisting of scotch, whiskey, sweet vermouth, and bitters.
Yeah, I like a Rob Roy every now and then.
You do not.
I could like a Rob Roy.
You owe me a Rob Roy.
You owe me a Rob Roy.
All right, so they fade out from the restaurant playing this classical music, and then they fade back in playing that same music into Chandler's bedroom. And Chandler's laying in bed, and there's a well-manicured hand on his chest, and when they pan out, you see that the hand belongs to Janice.
Well, I think Janice is just always there in the shot now.
Oh, is she?
I think so.
Oh, okay.
I think initially you would have just seen his, but she's just there smiling the whole time because they've widened the screen.
Right. Janice tousles his hair and says, "Happy Valentine's Day."
Oh. And that doesn't last long because they immediately cut to outside the
Yeah,
door.
so they immediately cut to the door, Chandler's apartment opening, and him trying to shove Janice off. And she says she misses him already. He tries to shut the door, but she opens it back up.
And I think you would be able to tell if I was trying to brush you off this badly.
Right, I know.
You'd be like, "What the fuck, man?"
And I'll bring it up later, but when he says something, it's kind of like, why don't you hear the tone in his voice?
Right.
But she goes, "Can you believe this happened?" No. And yet it did. Then, "Goodbye, Janice." And she yells, "Kiss me."
Monica opens her apartment door to get the paper, and she apologizes to Chandler for walking in, and then she's like, "Oh, Chandler."
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, Monica is so happy.
Why do you think she's so happy?
He's the one that's always teasing them.
Oh, about their guys and their dates.
And yeah, he's the one that's always sarcastic and making fun of them for everything. So I think she just sees the opportunity to flip, to make him feel uncomfortable
about his date.
Right.
But Janice gets excited and greets Monica, and Chandler still tries to hurry her off. But Monica calls Rachel into the hallway. And then she and Janice greet each other, and Monica goes, "I'll be right back." And then Joey comes home from his date, and I thought it would have been kind of funny if he had chocolate all over him.
Right. But he's got a white turtleneck on.
Yeah, and it might have looked like poopy.
Poopy.
Poopy. It's just poopy. But Joey sees Janice and says,
"Whoa." Like, he was not expecting for that to have worked out.
No. And Janice is so excited. She says, "This is all so much fun. It's like a reunion in the hall." And then she does her laugh.
Yeah.
And Chandler is still trying to get Janice to leave, and Monica comes back with the phone, and Ross is on it. He just happened to call.
I love that she ran in the house and called Ross. I was like, "Hang on, I need you to talk to somebody." And he's like, What's going on?
It's early in the morning. Yeah. She takes the phone and says, "Hello, Ross." "Yes, that's right. It's me. How'd you know?" And then laughs again. So this makes me a little sad. because Phoebe will be the last to know again.
Oh my gosh.
They called Ross, but Phoebe's not there, and she'll be the last to find out that he slept with Janice.
Poor Phoebes.
I know. All right, then we cut to Benihana of Tokyo Hibachi Steakhouse. That was on the sign. I wrote that all down.
Yes, you did see that one.
Yeah, and I love me some hibachi.
It seems like a weird Valentine's Day.
Yeah, it does. It kind of does. Because you're at a table with everybody else.
Right.
It's not very intimate. But Ross and his date, egg lady Kristen, are there. And Ross is so awkwardly explaining jet lag and dogs.
Right.
So 7 dog years to 1 human year when a dog flies from New York to Los Angeles. And on the captions, it was spelled wrong. It was angels.
Los Angeles.
He doesn't lose 3 hours. He loses like a week and a half. And then his date laughs awkwardly. And he's a scientist with a PhD. If you do the math, it's actually only 21 hours.
It's a joke, Joe.
All right, fine.
And it's Ross flirting. Always pay attention when Ross is flirting. It's super fun.
He's so awkward.
Right. It's kind of like how the Office does those awkward things that make you uncomfortable.
Yeah.
They hadn't quite figured out that this was a Ross thing yet. They kind of always had him doing it, but it's not known yet, I feel like. But I feel like they could have just put the camera on him a little bit tighter and made it really uncomfortable for him. Because it is some bad flirting.
It's like he's never talked to a date before. I mean,
Right.
I know he hasn't, but if you had to talk to someone, even if it wasn't a date, you could come up with something to say other than that.
Well, again, I think in Ross's mind, he's always trying to think of factoids to impress somebody.
I see.
But it just comes off as
You're
really...
right, because he talks about the sewer system.
Right, and the gas.
And the gas.
And like all the times when he flirts, he's always
that's so
doing
funny.
weird facts.
I didn't notice that. All right, then enters Susan and ex-wife Carol for Valentine's Day, and their hair looks really nice.
That's a quote only I will get.
Yeah. If you get the quote when I said their hair looks really nice, write in and tell us. We'll send you something. All right, Ross holds up his menu and hides. And Kristen says, "Who are they?"
Well, the blonde is my ex-wife, and the woman touching her is her close personal friend.
You mean they're lovers?
Well, if you want to put a label on it.
And then she says, "Is there anything else I should know?" And Ross says, "Nope, that's it." Carol stands up to take her coat off and reveals she's pregnant. And Ross goes, "Oh, yeah, and she's pregnant with my baby." I always forget that part.
Right.
And then again, he awkwardly says, "Hello."
Right.
And waves.
And Susan looks super happy
Yeah,
to see Ross across the table on Valentine's Day.
But I say red flag, Kristen. Why would he lie? You know, she's sitting right there.
I legitimately
Think he forgot?
Well, not forgot. Like, I'm on a date for the first time since she broke up with me.
Right.
And she's sitting across the table from me, and his mind is just in a
Okay.
whirl. So it's not that he forgot she was pregnant. It's just, oh, yeah.
And she's pregnant.
And she's very pregnant with my baby.
All right. So we cut to Monica's apartment. Phoebe, Monica, and Rachel, and a burning trash can. So the trash can's already on fire.
Right.
On their coffee table. So Phoebe is reading from a recipe that asks for sage branches and sacramental wine.
Right.
And then Monica, who is a chef,
Right.
only has oregano and a fresca. And she goes, "That's okay." And they put him into the trash can, again, on the wooden coffee table, in the big plate that she later gives Rachel.
Right.
So, I mean, it's such a nice plate. Why would you put the trash can in there?
Well, and if this wasn't in a studio audience,
Right.
there would be so much smoke in,
Yeah.
in that little apartment.
Yeah, right? She announces that they need the semen of a righteous man.
Well, if we had that, we wouldn't need to do the ritual.
And then Monica asks if they can just start throwing things in. And Phoebe consults the recipe and says, "Yeah, okay." And then throws the ritual recipe into the fire.
Right.
They all pause and go, And then they continue.
Right. So number one.
Yeah.
They have a balcony.
Yeah. And they filmed on the balcony before.
Why not put the trash can out on the balcony?
I don't know.
It would make sense.
Yes.
And two, why does it have to be a ritual?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I know it's goofy and it's fun, but like in general, why do people have rituals? You can just be like, it's kind of nice to burn shit. Other people that I don't like anymore that I have laying around. This kind of feels good.
Yes, it's very cathartic. Just ask Angela Bassett. So Rachel puts in Barry's letters and Adam Ritter's boxer shorts.
Okay, I don't know who he is.
I don't know either. And then Phoebe is waving her arms over the fire in a very spiritual way. I'm showing you, but you can't see it. And she says she has the receipt from her dinner from, you say the name. Perfect. And Monica throws in a picture of Scotty Jared naked. But they all look at it first, and Rachel says, he's not naked, he's wearing a sweater.
Nope.
Ew. No, he's not wearing a sweater. And then Rachel goes to pour in the last of Paula's grappa. And Monica warns her that it's pure alcohol, but it's too late, and the fire gets out of hand. So then we cut to Central Perk, and Joey and Chandler are sitting there. And Chandler says, how can I dump Janice on Valentine's Day?
Well, you dumped her on New Year's Eve.
And Chandler says that in his next life, he's coming back as a toilet brush.
Yes.
So I don't think that you believe in reincarnation, do you?
No.
No.
I don't think that reincarnation is ever inanimate objects.
Right, no.
You know, you have to come back as a living thing.
Right. He could have
some sort
been a dung
beetle or whatever.
Right. All right, so Janice comes in and she greets Chandler. Hello, funny Valentine.
Hi, just Janice.
And so she seems oblivious to the tone of that. Like, she calls him a funny Valentine, and he says, hi, just Janice.
Right.
But she kisses Joey all over for being their matchmaker.
Oh, poor Joey.
And then Joey says, if you don't do it, I will. So we cut back to the hibachi restaurant. So we have Ross, Kristen, Carol, and Susan, and strangers at the table.
Yes.
As the chef is finishing up his little act and pops a piece of something into Ross's mouth, he catches it but spits it out because it's too hot. And everyone claps. So, and then Ross turns to Kristen and asks what she does for a living. And I am just floored.
Right.
Because he went up to the bar, he talked to her. They've been sitting there for a while before the chef came up. And the food's all cooked. And they're this far into the date. And he's just now asking what she does for a living.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's crazy. Those are like some of the first questions you ask people. So what do you do for a living?
Right.
When you're getting to know someone.
You know what's funny? I read a thing. I don't know how true this statement is, but I read this thing where somebody from a European person was talking about American TV shows and how they're always asking, what do you do for a living? Blah, blah, blah. And they go, in Europe, we don't talk about what we do all that much.
Really?
He goes, I've had friends for years. I have no idea what their job is.
Oh my gosh.
Because we talk about other things. We don't always talk about our job.
That doesn't define the person that they are.
Right. Yes, exactly.
All right. But while Kristen is explaining what she does, Ross overhears Susan and Carol arguing because Susan has to leave for a photo shoot. Mm-hmm. And Susan leaves, and Kristen ends with, which is funny because it wasn't even my major. Mm-hmm. And then there's this long, awkward silence.
They do let it sit for a second.
And then Ross realizes he's supposed to respond because she's talking, and he does another awkward laugh and says, now that's funny. But he looks over at Carol, who's visibly sad, and asks if it would be okay if she came and sat by them. Because she's alone and pregnant and sad. And that sounds like a premise for a good cry movie. Alone, pregnant, and sad.
On Valentine's Day.
So she reluctantly agrees because she's a nice lady. She seems like a very nice lady.
Right. She seems very nice. And she's also a cutie pie.
Yes.
I mean, we talked about Lorraine.
Yes.
Kristen's also a cutie pie.
And then Ross asks Carol to come over by them and tells the rest of the people at the table to scooch down to make room for Carol. And why didn't he say thank you to those people? Like, could you scooch? Oh, thank you so much. Thanks for scooching. I appreciate you scooching down. I mean, he just goes, you're gonna scooch.
You'll scooch, won't you? Let's try scooching.
So Carol picks up her plate and joins them, and Ross introduces Kristen Riggs to Carol Willick and says that Carol teaches the 6th grade. And then Ross says that Kristen, and he has no idea what she does.
But he does the, funnily enough, wasn't even her major.
Save the day.
So I actually rewound it.
Okay.
And listened to her a couple times.
Uh-huh.
And she actually talks about how she got into teaching, and she's currently teaching science.
To kids? Oh my God.
Kids.
And they're both teachers, and he totally didn't even get it.
Right. They have something in common, and he wasn't paying attention.
Oh my gosh. Then we cut back to Monica's apartment. Rachel, Monica, Phoebe, and a plethora of firemen. They start to inspect the contents of the trash can, boxer shorts, greeting cards on a half-charred picture that is hairier than the chief.
Right.
And Monica snatches it. I never noticed a ceiling light before in Monica's apartment.
Oh.
But in this scene, there is a very smoke-covered ceiling light above the coffee table. Did you see it?
No, I'm going to pause right now and look.
Okay. Are you really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So we just looked for the light. There is a light. It's in the final scene.
Yes. The tag.
The tag.
Yeah.
But it is there, and it's hanging really low, and it's covered in smoke. Good eye.
Thanks. And I'm sad that you had to pause it because you didn't see it.
Yeah, I meant to look for it, and then I think it's because it's in your notes in this scene, but you don't see it till later.
Oh, okay. You're right. All right. And then also while I was typing these notes, when you pause the, scene, it shows who the actors and everybody are.
Right.
And so it lists the firemen. Fireman Dave is played by Larry Poindexter, and Fireman Charlie is played by Jay Covone. But I just thought it was funny because they don't ever mention their names, so they just gave them names.
Right.
But the firemen explain that this is not their first boyfriend bonfire they've seen, and it's their 3rd call tonight. And Valentine's is their busiest night of the year, and that's Fireman Ed, Joel Gresh, says that line. So
that's fun.
I thought it was fun. And then we cut back to Central Perk, and Janice and Chandler on the couch, and Joey is over at the table by the window. And Janice brings him candy hearts.
So, candy hearts that she had made.
Yeah, in one day. She slept with him.
Got up. He kicked her out of the apartment. She went and had candy hearts made.
Is there an all-night candy heart store that does rush deliveries on Valentine's Day? I mean, we ordered personalized M&Ms one time, and it took 4 weeks.
Right.
All right.
Well, luckily, there was a Chan and Jan Forever order that got canceled.
Okay. It's a popular name. And then Chandler looks over at Joey, and he motions him to do it already. He's like pushing him.
He is in a hurry-up mood for this to be over.
And then Chandler goes into his famous, Janice, hey, Janice. And then she goes into this wonderful, amazing dialogue that she talks about how he is drawn to her, and this is not the last time they're going to see each other. And he doesn't know it. You just don't know it. So he doesn't know that she knows that they know.
Right. And I believe the next time she sees him, she's pregnant.
Yes.
So she doesn't really hold firm to this conviction.
Right.
This is just a theory that she's spitballing.
But she gives him this deep kiss and leaves. And then he stands up and says, call me.
Call me.
Joey waves by from the window and gives Chandler this really thunderous okay sign. Like, good job, you idiot.
Oh, Janice.
I know. Then we come back to the hibachi restaurant, and it opens with Carol saying that she never called Ross's mother a Wolverine. And Ross turns to Kristen's chair to include her in the conversation. and she's gone.
I like the fact that she was on Monica's side as far as
Judy goes.
Yeah.
So I did look up Wolverines. Because I didn't know what a Wolverine was. I thought it was like a kind of a wolf, but Wolverines are a solitary, vicious carnivore, and they look like small bears, but they're actually giant weasels.
Yes.
Now, if that doesn't sound frightening.
Right.
Actually, the first article I saw was comparing Wolverine, the comic book character, to an actual Wolverine.
That's the first article.
That's the first one. And the line I saw in that article was, their wounds don't instantly heal. So somebody out there thought that Wolverine's the animal mimicked Wolverine, the comic book character.
I think it's more the claws. And in the comic books, he's a smaller guy.
Yeah.
He's not Hugh Jackman huge.
That was just too funny. So, and then, Ross is confused and asks how long she's been in the bathroom, but Carol points out that her coat is gone.
I don't think she's in the bathroom.
And Ross whines that he screwed up the first date he's been on in 9 years. And he puts his head on the hibachi.
He's like, you remember, you were there.
And she went, yeah, it was awkward. Which is still hot. And so he picks his head up, but he's a mushroom stuck to his forehead. And Carol picks it off. So she tries to cheer him up, saying it's not always going to be like this. Some might actually stay through dinner. And then Ross asks if he has to get on with his life. The woman is cute and perfectly nice, but that's it. And then when he's with Carol, talking to her is easy and fun, and Carol agrees. So Ross proposes a wacky thought that he and Carol give it another shot. And he knows that she's a lesbian, but he tells her to put a pin in it.
I know what you're going to say. You're a lesbian.
So every single time I'm in a meeting at work, and somebody goes, let's put a pin in that.
Right.
I think about this scene. You're putting a pin in the lesbian thing? Okay. He tells her that they're great together, and she's already carrying his baby. And he tells her that he loves her, and they share a really passionate kiss. And she says she loves him too, but then she reminds him of the pin.
Yeah. And I think they're both really good in this scene.
Yeah.
You feel that they have a history together.
Right.
I think they're both doing very good acting.
Right.
They seem like they've been in a really long relationship, and they seem like they know each other really well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's why I feel bad for Ross.
Yeah.
It's kind of like,
again,
you went on a Valentine's date.
Right.
And then you ended up with the woman that you're still in love with.
But you can't have.
Right.
Yeah. So Carol tells him he will find the right woman. She's waiting for him, and he tells her that it's easy for you to say you found one. And then I missed this line in past watchings, but she tells him that all he needs is a woman that likes men.
Right. All you need is a woman that like a man, and you're all set.
And then enters this tall, leggy blonde in a tight skirt sweater combo, and they both look up at her, and Carol says,
not her. And I think that sounds like, again, in our fictional divorce where we're still best friends, and you've married a lesbian, I think that you would be like, no.
She can't be better looking than me. Then we go to the tag, and this is where you see the ceiling light. So if you're watching, go to this tag, Monica's apartment. Rachel, Monica, Phoebe, and fireman Dave, Charlie, and Ed. The girls are all wearing the fireman hats, sitting talking with the fireman, and they tell them they get off at midnight, and they all agree that they'll go out, and the fireman will come back and pick them up.
Right.
And then he's going to bring the fire truck off duty and let him ring the bell?
Right. I don't know.
Okay.
It makes as much sense as some of the other things.
But the firemen leave, and the girls are all excited about firemen guys. And Phoebe says the cleansing ritual worked, and they're nice guys. And Rach says they're firemen guys. And then cut to the firemen in the hallway, and you can feel me getting heated right now. Because they're talking about, do you tell them that you were married? And he goes, no, I didn't even tell my girlfriend I was married. Why would I tell them?
So I think these firemen have a fetish. They want to show to one of the Valentine's Day fires where women are burning their stuff.
Right. That would be...
That's what they want to happen.
But that's the end of the episode.
That's right. That's the end. Gross fireman. Cut and print.
It's a nice note to go out on. Adam, are you ready for our Maladjusted Misfits Valentine's cleansing ritual?
Sure.
Sage branches and sacramental wine.
Already in. I know how to start a cleansing ritual.
Of course. But we had oregano and fresco to keep up with Monica's recipe.
Okay.
The semen of a righteous man.
Got it.
You had that already?
Always ready whenever you need it.
Gross. Then we add the ingredients list. Barry's letters.
I printed off fan fiction letters from that one friend's website you don't like.
The explicit one?
Yeah.
Gross. Adam Ritter's boxer shorts.
I have Adam's boxers, which are mine.
That'll do. Receipt from the dinner of Nokoluku Ona.
Website.
A picture of Scotty Jared naked. Also
website.
Gross, is that real?
I think it's an AI photo.
And Paolo's grappa.
Are you sure this is going to summon a demon?
No, why did you think that?
I want a demon.
All right, what did we learn from this episode? I learned that Ross is bad at getting to know people.
Yes.
Joey's vocabulary is very limited. He did not know slather.
Right.
Chandler and Janice are funny. They keep ending up together. And I think it's easier with people you know and are friends with first, which Monica and Chandler later.
Monica and Chandler.
Yeah.
You love Monica and Chandler together.
I do.
So I learned that Phoebe has several bald women friends. Spoiler alert, rituals don't work, or the gross fireman would have been warded off.
That's true.
Susan is dedicated to her work.
She is.
I mean, she left her pregnant date alone on Valentine's Day with her ex-husband. That's dangerous, I think. Chandler needs some anti-Janice willpower to grow the ability to say no.
Yes.
He needs something like an ad like, "This is your mind on Janice." Any questions? He needs like advertisements directed straight at him. After school specials.
Stay away from Janice.
Right.
All right. What are your final episode thoughts?
I think it would have been hysterical if Chandler and Janice would have ended up together.
Really?
At the end of the series.
Seriously?
I think that would have been... I mean, I like Chandler and Monica together. Don't get me wrong. But it would have been funny if throughout the series, Chandler would have been like Phoebe and kind of had... you know, a bunch of weird relationships and then married Janice in the end.
Yeah.
Everybody would have been like, ugh.
So, my final episode thoughts, I didn't think Phoebe was in this one a lot. I mean, she was in the ritual, but she wasn't a main staple of what was going on. And I like when they bring up the side characters again. I like when they talk about the bald friend and the bald friend comes up and Raj. And I wish they had brought up the firemen again, those fucking bastards.
Right. The beginning of the next episode. Those fucking firemen were all married.
Yeah. All right, so sweater vest tracker.
Well, the old count was 12.
Yes.
We held there for a couple episodes.
Yes.
So we had one in the cold open.
Yep.
And one on his date with Janice.
Yes.
Episode totals 2. Overall count is 14.
Woohoo! We're even with the episode now.
So next episode, we're not ahead.
Nope.
We really need a sweater vest next week.
Right. We need to stay on top of it. So what's coming up next week?
The one with the stone guy. Hey! We got John Lovitz. And we got the Munchies. And none other than Jan Levinson Gould from The Office.
Just Jan Levinson.
Oh, what happened to the Gould? Melora Hardin shows up for some dirty talk.
Ooh. All right, that's the end of the episode. Thanks for listening. If you would like your thoughts or reactions regarding future episodes to be shared with the rest of the class, or you just want to reach out and say, hey, come on, we'd like to hear more from you misfits out there, email us at themaladjustedmisfits@gmail.com. Rate us and leave positive comments. And if you have negative comments, maybe leave them in a positive way.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah. Check us out on Facebook and Instagram because we always have fun memes.
Joe, you ready for a cup of coffee?
Always. You guys will scooch, won't you? Let's try scooching.